So Paul George has been talking about the shoulder injuries, and I guess the timetable right now is late October to late November, which, according to some comments that I see on Reddit, so take them for what they're worth. Apparently the original timetable was a little later than that, potentially going into December. Granted, late November is basically December anyway, but you get it. Should we be scared by this? Should we be alarmed that Paul George's injury, number one, exists, number two, the exact timetable is a little out of whack? I think, I don't think we should be panicking, but I think we should be doing more than disregarding this because, well, one, we're still dealing with Kawhi and the quad thing, which I've said this before. If you do some Googling, there's reason to believe Kawhi's quad injury is never going to go away. The best he can do is just manage it as best he can and play 60-something games a season and ramp it up in the postseason as much as possible, and that means you're sometimes just not going to play a random Tuesday night game in the regular season, right? And if this was the Eastern Conference, that'd be totally cool. I think the Clippers could manage it. But in the West, where teams have made moves, teams have gotten better, whatever, could that be the difference between the Clippers getting the second seed or the 1 seed and maybe the 5th seed? And not to say they would be drastically off record-wise, it's just we know how the Western Conference is, right? You lose 3 games in a row, you drop from the 2 seed to the 7th seed. It's just how it is sometimes. So that could potentially be a thing. I mean, if Kawhi and PG were able to play 77 games each, then I'd be picking them for the 1 seed, but I don't think that's going to be the case here. Another thing that could be a little something is, what if Paul George just isn't that amazing when he comes back? I mean, his shooting looked really weird the last whatever games, months for OKC. And part of it was his mechanics were off, but then obviously both shoulders had problems as of course he got surgery. And are we just sure that that's not going to have lingering effects? I mean, the rotator cuff can be a little tricky. At least that's what Google tells me. It's one of those type of things where, if you're getting into the tendon and doing a quick little Google search, it seems like there was some tendon tears for PG. Apparently that's the kind of thing where you're just months removed from surgery and you're just why the crap won't this heal? And, there's a chance that could affect his shooting. It could also be completely fine, but, we like to worry, as NBA fans do. And if PG is going to be a little worse as a shooter, maybe it doesn't drastically affect anything, but maybe it just doesn't make him the, whatever he is, the 6th, 7th best shooter in the league, whatever Paul George is on his best day. If he's not going to be that, then that's just tough, because the Western Conference is really difficult. And again, the difference between PG healthy, PG not healthy, Kawhi same thing, that could be you getting home court advantage throughout most or not all of the playoffs, and you starting on the road and maybe round 2 against whoever it would be, Rockets, Clippers, Jazz, Nuggets. I mean, there's a lot of good teams out there, as we know. And the other thing that potentially could be a thing is the chemistry of this Clippers team. I mean, Doc, I think he does a pretty good job of getting everybody to buy in, and the team is full of professionals, but if Paul George is missing whatever time, and then Kawhi is also in and out of the lineup, which I just think will happen, then could that be a thing for this Clippers team? I mean, there are still some mainstays between Shamet, Lou, Beverly, Montrez. You could include Zubac. I mean, they acquired him last season. But it is still tough when the 2 leading shot takers of your team are, missing time and all that. And it could hurt. I mean, you could say, well, the Raptors were really good with Kawhi. Technically, they were better without Kawhi. Obviously, we know they wouldn't have done what they did without him, but still, they held their own when he wasn't in the lineup. But, number one, I don't think that immediately means that it can just be done again. Number two, that Raptors team, for the most part, was like a lot of the same dudes. I mean, yeah, there was like Danny Green and Marc Gasol at the trade deadline, but between Ibaka, Siakam, Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Nick Nurse was a first-year head coach, but he was the assistant for at least the year before that. So I just think there was a level of continuity there that I think the Clippers are not like super far away from having, but I just don't know if it's as easy to recreate that. Again, also because in the Western Conference. So yeah, my last two Clippers videos have been me trying to knock this team down. And I think the reason for that is because if everything goes well, they're clearly a title contender. So, what else am I going to say? They're just really good. Like, it's never that easy in the NBA. Anyway, I think I'm done. This could mean something for Paul George. It could mean nothing. See what happens.